What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, and today I will be going over my favorite player from each NHL team. Remember, this is just my opinion. You're more than welcome to have your own opinion. Share your picks in the comments. I would love to hear what you think, but without wasting any more time, let's jump right into it. Starting with the Anaheim Ducks, I have Rickard Rakell. And Rakell, he's a pretty young guy, he's very fast, and I think that he soon will be the face of the Ducks franchise, and overall he's just a very likable personality. So that's what my pick is. Moving on to the Coyotes, we have Clayton Keller. And like Rakell, he's really young, he's really fast, and he's becoming the face of the franchise. And I don't know, I just really like Clayton Keller in Arizona, and that's why I picked him for this spot. Moving on to the Bruins, I have Patrice Bergeron. And I think that Bergeron purely defines the qualities of a true man. He's very loyal, he is very hardworking, he has been arguably the best defensive forward throughout the decade, and he's just a very hardworking, very nice guy, and that's why he's my pick for my favorite player on the Bruins. Moving on to the Buffalo Sabres, we have Rasmus Dahlin. And Dahlin, he's a great defenseman throughout his 2 seasons in Buffalo. He's been great for them. I really like Dahlin, and I think that he can win a Norris Trophy or 2 in his career. Moving on to the Calgary Flames, I have Matthew Tkachuk. And he can be annoying at times, but overall he's very physical, really good player, and I think that he perfectly complements guys like Backlund, Gaudreau, and Monahan in Calgary. Moving over to the Hurricanes, we have Andrei Svechnikov. And I like him not only because of his abilities with the lacrosse goal, but overall he's just been having a great season. I really like his style of play. I mean, he had great courage to fight Ovechkin in last year's playoffs, which was definitely very brave of him. But overall, I think he's a great player, and he could become the face of the franchise for Carolina. Moving on to the Chicago Blackhawks, I mean, there's really no competition. It's Patrick Kane. He has the best hands in the world right now, probably. I mean, it's him or Pavel Barber. But he's a great stick handler. He's been the face of the Chicago franchise for the past decade. He scored the overtime goal of the Stanley Cup Finals in 2010, the goal that nobody saw the puck go in except for him. But overall, he's just had a really good career, and I think that once it's all said and done, he will go into the Hall of Fame. Moving on to the Colorado Avalanche, we have Nathan MacKinnon. And what he was able to do this year was just amazing. He was a top player in the league when his 2 line mates, who are Gabriel Landeskog and Mikko Rantanen, were injured for most of the season. That was amazing. I have no idea how he pulled it off, but mad respect to him, and he's my pick for the Colorado Avalanche. Moving on to the Columbus Blue Jackets, we have Seth Jones. And Jones, I feel like, is a very underrated defenseman. I think that he could potentially be in the Norris talk, but he consistently makes it to the All-Star game. He's a very steady and reliable defenseman, and I think Columbus really likes to have him on their team, and he's my pick for the Blue Jackets. Moving on to the Dallas Stars, I have Joe Pavelski. And Pavelski is this very hardworking player. His role is to stand in front of the net and tip pucks in, which is what he does best. I really like him. He's not having the greatest season right now, but that's okay. I think he can bounce back and play like he did with the Sharks. Moving on to the Red Wings, I have Tyler Bertuzzi. And Bertuzzi is one of those players where you'd love to have him on your team and you'd hate to play against him, because he's this very gritty, very physical guy, and he can score too, so that's why he's my pick for Detroit. Moving on to Edmonton, we have Leon Dreisseidel. I like him a bit more than McDavid because, I don't know, I'm a guy who prefers goals more than points. I don't know, I just like goal scorers better than like passers, and I feel like Dreisseidel is a better goal scorer than McDavid. But both are great players, but my pick is Dreisseidel, even though this year he exploded point-wise with 110 points. That's just amazing. So moving on to the Florida Panthers, we have Jonathan Huberdeau. And Huberdeau, this year he passed Olli Jokinen in points by Florida Panther. So now he's the franchise leader in points. He's a very hardworking guy. I wouldn't say he's the face of the franchise, but he is their leading scorer, and I really like Jonathan Huberdeau. Moving on to the LA Kings, I have Quinton Byfield. Okay, that's just a joke. Byfield is not a Los Angeles King yet, but my real pick is Anze Kopitar. He's also a very hardworking guy. He was one of the better defensive forwards over the past decade, won a few Selke trophies, but overall he's just had a really good career, and he might even go into the Hall of Fame. But I don't know, it's possible. So moving on to the Minnesota Wild, we have Mats Zuccarello. And I think that the only reason why I put him here is that, I don't know, I might be a little biased because the Rangers are one of my favorite teams, but Zuccarello is just another extremely hardworking guy. He's a grinder. You'd love to have him on your team. And even though this season hasn't been amazing for him, I think he can bounce back with Minnesota. Moving along to the Canadiens, I have Shay Weber. He won the hardest shot competition this year, and then 3 times before that in 2017, 16, and 15. He is a great defender, and this year he was even really good offensively, but I think that the reason why a lot of teams might want him is because of his killer slap shot. Moving on to the Nashville Predators, and this pick might be a little controversial, but I have Ryan Ellis. I think he is extremely underrated because he used to play with guys like Shay Weber and Ryan Suter and PK Subban, but now, even though he still plays with Roman Josi, he has been overlooked, overshadowed by those great defensemen, which is exactly why he doesn't get the credit he deserves it. He's not as offensively capable as Josi is, but still, he's one of the better defensive defensemen in the league. I really like Ryan Ellis. I think he's very underrated, and he's my pick for the Nashville Predators. Moving along to the Devils, and this also might be controversial, but I have Jesper Bratt. He was pretty good offensively this year. He shows tremendous upside, and he's slowly becoming the face of the franchise for the Devils. Moving along to the New York Islanders, and this also might be controversial, 3rd one in a row, but I have Adam Pollock. And he's one of those players where you don't notice him individually, but once he's playing, the team looks better when he's there. And he's a great, steady defenseman, and he's a hard worker, a great grinder. I think that a lot of people would want to have him playing for them. Moving along to the Rangers, this one was close between Panarin and Zibanejad, but I did end up choosing Zibanejad once again because I prefer goal scorers over playmakers, and Panarin is more of a playmaker. But still, Zibanejad was crazy this season, scoring 40 goals, and he was injured for quite some time. And I don't know, it's just been awesome. He really stepped up, and I hope that this continues for the New York Rangers. Moving along to the Ottawa Senators, I have the second Tkachuk of the video, Brady. And Brady Tkachuk, he's this little annoying physical guy that his role is basically to annoy people and fight them, but he can also score, which is exactly the player you'd love to have on your team and hate to play against. And moving along to the Philadelphia Flyers, we have Travis Connectny. Connectny really exploded this year. he has been overshadowed by guys like Giroux, Voracek, and Couturier over the past few years, but I think that this year he has gotten the credit he deserves. But still, Connectny is a very good player, and I really like him as a flyer. Moving along to the Penguins, and I have Jake Guentzel. And same trend here, I like goal scorers. Crosby and Malkin, they're more of playmakers, while Guentzel is a pure goal scorer, which is exactly why I like him, and he's also a very fun personality. So that's something. Moving along to the Sharks, we have Logan Couture, probably the best player in the league when it comes to playoffs. Unfortunately, the Sharks aren't in them this year, so that's unfortunate. But if they were, I am more than sure that Logan Couture would do quite the damage. Moving on to the Blues, I have Ryan O'Reilly, and I think that there's two major trends here, where there's goal scorers and there's hard workers, and O'Reilly, he's an extremely hard worker. He's a very clean player. He has won the Selke last year, and he's a great defensive forward. I really like Ryan O'Reilly, and I think that if St. Louis ends up losing Pietrangelo to free agency, he could very well be the next captain. Moving along to the Tampa Bay Lightning, we have Nikita Kucherov. And Kucherov, he's very fancy. His famous move with the no shot, I really like. And overall, he's just been putting up a lot of points throughout his career. He's a guy I'm sure every team would love to have on their team. And Kucherov is just a great, great player. Moving along to the Leafs, we have John Tavares. And I picked him over Matthews because, they're both goal scorers, but I just feel like Tavares has had the better career. Once they both finish careers, I think Matthews just might have the better one. But for now, I like Tavares better. He had a great season last year, which is exactly why he's the captain now. And I don't know, I just really like John Tavares ever since he was drafted. Moving on to the Canucks, I have Elias Pedersen. And Pedersen is an interesting case. He is very young, but already the face of the franchise. He was sort of thrown under the bus last season, where he was forced to be the main guy there, and he was a rookie. But he has performed really well. He won the Calder, and now that he has some help from guys like Quinn Hughes and JT Miller, I feel like he will become a great, great player, and I don't know, I just really like Pedersen. Moving along to the Golden Knights, we have William Carlson. He had an amazing, amazing season when it was the first season for the Golden Knights, scoring 41 goals. That was just unreal. He has come down to earth now, and he is like a second line player right now, but still, you would love to have him on your team, and I really, really like William Carlson. Moving on to the Caps, my favorite team, it's Alexander Ovechkin. Goal scorer, might pass Gretzky in goals. Just a great career, many, many accolades, and I think he will go in the Hall of Fame, and not much more needs to be said about Alex Ovechkin. And finishing off with the Winnipeg Jets, we have Mark Scheifele. And Scheifele, he is the Jets' #1 center. Patrick Laine desperately wants to play with him, but so do guys like Wheeler and Connor. But still, he's been a great, great center. Underrated. He's kind of overshadowed by Blake Wheeler. But still, I think that he has had a fantastic career so far, and it's still going. Who knows what else Mark Scheifele will be able to do. So that's going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Like this video if you enjoyed, then subscribe if you want to see more awesome hockey content. But I'll see you guys next time. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it hockey.